So the big question is this: how are creators like us, who aren't built for the 9 to 5, for the people who put their passion before them being comfortable, how do we turn that passion into a living that pays the bills and a life that we love? That is the question. This podcast will give you the answers. My name is Noah Mittman, and welcome to Conversations with Creators.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Creators. I am your host, Noah Mittman, and joining me today is Rachel Henderson of Rachel's Creations. Thanks for being on.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you do quite a lot. You are an artist through and through. How did you get into creating in the first place?
It's kind of a long story. The short story is I got in trouble for taking crayons to my mom's kitchen wall as a kid.
Of course.
That was my first mural. And then I actually took a totally strange route. I went to college thinking I was going to be a veterinarian, but my artsy brain did not do math and science very well.
Yep.
And I took some art classes, but I didn't really think you could make art a career unless you were into graphic arts or advertising or something like that. And I ended up falling in love with all my psych and sociology and bizarre criminal justice classes. And I was a coroner investigator. I was a field agent for 10 years out of college first. And then after 10 years of that, I decided that was enough and it was time to go back to art and paint pretty murals on kids' walls or faces or be creative and in a happier space, getting regular sleep. And so I started
Rachel's schedule like for a coroner?
Oh, sorry. It varied. When I was in Texas, we had normal 8-hour shifts and different people were on different shifts, and then you'd go home and leave it as it was.
Yeah.
When I moved here and worked for a short time for a local county, we had a fireman's schedule where we would be in the office on call overnight and then have 2 days off. I think that's all changed now to more normal hours, but it wears on you after a while.
I was an EMT for a while, and the 12-hour shifts are rough. Yeah.
Yep.
I loved it. If the pay was better, I'd still be doing it part-time.
Well, and I did the opposite. The pay was wonderful and the job was fascinating. And I probably took a pay cut of close to half to start my art career, but it was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I started Rachel's Creations in the fall of 1999. One of my girlfriends said, I guess it's time to stencil my kitchen. And that was my first project.
Nice.
And I've been at it going on 26 years.
Heck yeah. That's the most organic start to a business ever.
Yeah.
Just like
truly.
It starts with friends and then you're like, oh, I could do this for money. This is sweet.
Yeah. Sometimes my whole life, sometimes it's been not what you know, but who you know.
Oh, yeah.
And after that, I had an in to the Parade of Homes back in 2000 and 2001. Yeah. And that kind of kickstarted everything.
Yeah. So, you do a lot of mural stuff. Is there one mural or kind of event that stands out as like one of your favorites?
Not one in particular. And sadly, because of the economy, murals have been few and far between.
Yeah.
Probably my favorites. I did a couple of walls for little boys' rooms, and I don't know if you're familiar with trompe l'oeil. It means fool the eye. And it looked like a jersey hanging in a locker, 3-dimensional.
Oh, cool.
With skates and hockey sticks and things like that. I love doing kids' rooms. Those are my favorite. And probably one of the most meaningful, back in 2020, right before COVID hit, there was a grant given to Conifer to I think it was the elementary school or middle school by Mountain Resource Center for a kindness and an anti-bullying campaign.
Yeah.
And I did a mural in their cafeteria, and it was nothing overly artsy, but it was a poem written out in words that was along the lines of, you might not be the most popular or the prettiest, but you can be the nicest and the kindest. And
nice.
do good works,
Yeah,
include
yeah, yeah.
everyone type of thing. That was probably the most meaningful one.
Yeah, the ones that
Sadly,
actually
it's
have
been slow
impact.
since then. Yeah. Sadly, with the economy, not many people seem to be doing murals right now, but a lot still always have birthdays and company parties and
Yeah.
events. And I've done face painting for at least half of those 26 years. And I've also added canvas painting parties in recent years where I bring it to you. So you don't have to drive down the
Oh,
hill
that's
to the
nice.
paint and sip places and
Yeah, yeah.
things like that.
That's actually a good idea because I feel yeah, I feel like the paint and sip you can only have so many sips before you have to drive, but if it's at your house, you can kind of go a little crazier.
Or you can have, girls brunch or,
Yeah.
couples night in or whatever you might want to do and not have to travel far.
What's what's one of the wildest things that somebody's painted when they've had a little too much wine at one of those?
Luckily I haven't had that experience. I really haven't. Um, they've been fairly subdued crowds,
Yeah, yeah.
of people. One of the most unique things I didn't know ahead of time, but one of the guests at one of the parties was actually an art teacher.
Oh my God.
And so she came up with something on her own, totally pixelated, like, all made out of dots instead of how the rest
Yeah.
of us were painting regularly. And when we all looked at each other's paintings and, checked it out, I was like, whoa, she's awesome. She's a ringer. She knows what she's doing,
Yeah, yeah.
and made hers unique, but humored the rest of us. It was kind of fun. And
That's
some
great. It's
of
always
those, the
nice to be
most
able
fun
to
ones have been for little
quietly
kids.
show
I'm
skill.
sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I said it's always fun
Yeah,
when somebody
yeah.
just like quietly shows a bunch of skill.
Oh, definitely. Some of the most fun ones are little kids. I just love seeing them smile and be happy that they can accomplish something that they didn't realize they could do.
Yeah, totally.
That is wonderful to
Well, and
me.
especially with art, like it's, being able to see, like my daughter paints and draws constantly, and she's always so proud of the drawing when she's done. It's
Oh,
like, oh,
wonderful.
yeah, it's great. Like she's just like, do you like it? I'm like, of course I like it. No, it's fantastic.
That's awesome. What's her favorite medium?
Um, she does a lot of colored pencils. That's kind of what she's
Okay.
into right now. That, but she definitely has to paint sometimes. But yeah, colored pencils are probably the easiest and most like it's the least amount of like prep work. So she does that a lot.
Whoopsie.
You got me?
Where'd I go?
I hear
I clicked the wrong button.
you.
Did I disappear from the
No, no,
screen?
you're here.
Oh, there I am. Sorry. I hit a button.
So
My
talk to
favorite
me.
is
Oh yeah, go for
water-based
it.
acrylics.
Acrylics, nice.
And I admire people. I have a few friends that do watercolors, and I admire the
Yeah,
heck out of them because I can't touch them. I can't for the life of me work with
watercolors are
watercolors
incredible.
very well.
I
Yeah.
love that style so much too.
It's beautiful, but I don't think I'm patient enough to have things softly blend and not just blur to pieces. I do
Right.
much better with the acrylics.
What's been your best acrylic piece that you've been most proud of?
Um, Again, probably those murals, the
Yeah.
three-dimensional looking murals. But as far as like canvas painting classes, I have a few hanging around my house. And one of my favorites is just really cute. A real estate office hired me just to do a get together and a team building event. And I'm looking at it right now. It's a cute little gnome sitting up against a tree with roasting a marshmallow over a fire outside in the wilderness
Epic.
with a dark sky and stars and things out at night. And it was just cute. It made everybody smile.
I
So it
love
was
it.
a fun one because
Yeah.
everyone always does the beach or the mountains or,
Right.
and this one was different. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you have your classic landscapes that everybody does.
Yeah. And the face painting is just, I love making kids smile.
Yeah.
And I like to be creative. I've had tons of little kids, but I've also had adults hire me to do full Dios de los Muertos faces. And
Nice.
we've added gems and they've gotten intricate, and it's a unique art form. It's fun to see what you can do. And it's great also to hold up the mirror and see a little kid giggle
Yeah.
and feel, special.
What's for the kids with face painting, what's like the most requested design that you have?
Rainbows and butterflies and tiger faces. I try to switch it up. I personally love to do minions. I think they're hilarious. And when they were really popular, I'd love to do those. And
You
I
can't go
even
wrong
had
with
a
minions.
man who shaved his head. Huh? Oh, I
You can't-
know. I even had an adult once at a like an outside festival at Aspen Grove or something. He had shaved his head. He wanted to have a zebra mane put on his head because he was going to some party later that evening.
Nice.
And that was probably the most unique request.
The Dia de los Muertos sounds pretty cool. Those designs are always so gorgeous.
I think so too. They take more time. You definitely
Yeah.
have to do that in a private session, not in a quick, event. But I think they're really special. They're just very unique. I
Yeah.
did a whole family like that from well, there was a kids movie. It wasn't Rio.
Oh yeah.
There was some kids movie
Oh my God.
along those lines a year or so ago, and the whole family had me do the whole family for Halloween.
I can't believe I'm spacing on it.
Coco.
Coco,
Was it
yes.
Coco?
Coco.
I've been an empty nester for a million years, but the whole family, the mother and the husband, even the 2-year-old sat still to
Wow.
have the whole family done like that for Halloween. They live over in Evergreen in the island. That was fun. That was
That's where
probably
we
a
go
year
to
or
trick
two
or treat.
ago.
That the island for trick or treating is amazing.
I had no idea it was a thing
Oh yeah.
until I did that for them. And then I couldn't even get out of the neighborhood because it was so inundated. And I didn't, I was going 0 miles an hour just trying to get out
It's like a
because it's
movie. It's like
inundated and they
I've never had a trick or treating
closed the
experience like
gate.
that because we live about 5 minutes away from there. So it's
Okay.
like I had never experienced any trick or treating like that, and that's now like the standard of what we do.
It's funny. I grew up in St. Louis and we lived in a neighborhood that was a full cul-de-sac. So there was only one way in and out.
Yeah.
And as a kid, Halloween was my favorite. The men would all be down at the bottom of the cul-de-sac building a bonfire and having donuts for everyone. And then the kids would just go all around the neighborhood.
Yep.
And I loved it. Halloween's awesome.
Halloween's
But it's a
fantastic.
really fun time to do face painting for sure.
It is most of our family's favorite holiday.
Me too.
So you do something super interesting, which is Fox finishes. Can you explain to people what that is and
Oh,
how you
faux.
got it? Faux, yeah, faux, excuse me. Fox, oh my God. Faux finishes. What
No problem.
tell people what that is and how you got into
They
it.
sure. They were really big in the 80s and 90s. It's starting to wane a bit. But what it is when you have a regular wall, it can have several different meanings. Faux just means not real.
Okay.
So I can take a regular wall that has knockdown texture on it and make it look like rocks with texture or bricks. And you mix paint with a little bit of glaze, and that helps you get the movement and be able to get in and out, make lines, make different textures on a plain wall. In the very beginning, it was called sponge painting, and people would just take a sponge and dip it in paint and sponge it on the wall so it looked like texture or wallpaper. Um, some of my favorite things, I did a gift store once where I made it look like the wall had crumbled and there were
Nice.
bricks, you know, along with the pieces that have crumbled. And I've gotten the chance to work 2 or 3 times with a master trompe l'oeil artist. His name's John Pugh. He's out of California, I believe now. He's moved a couple times. and another one named Manuel Cruz. And in the 90s, I got to do a mural on the side of the Bed Bath and Beyond building at Cherry Creek with John. And I got to do the Park Meadows Mall murals before the mall opened. And they had added the Foley's and the Dillards and some of the other stores. We had done these huge 2-story murals where it looked like you could literally walk through the painting.
Wow.
And it's kind of an amazing thing. That's more Trompe l'oeil. The faux now, it's very physical. And if you were going to do someone's whole living room, you would need more than one person to do it, to keep the consistency and to get it going, because it dries very quickly.
Yeah.
I'm 57 now. And so I stick more, it's just very physical on your arms and neck and legs. I stick more to a little niche in your living room or one accent wall in the bathroom or bedroom or something like that.
That makes sense.
With those. But it was unique. Some people used to do their whole house back when the Parade of Homes was, big in 2000, 2001. Their whole house would have unique painting like that in almost every room. I say less is more, personally.
Yeah.
But it just depends on what you're looking for.
It's just a different world on every single wall.
Yeah. Or just, it's just a unique way to, it's a lot cheaper than doing rock or brick work.
I was going to say, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than actually bringing in the rock.
Exactly. And so that was one way to accomplish that. Yeah.
That's epic. So,
it's fun.
How, you love doing kind of the kids' rooms and the kids' stuff. How is that? How do you kind of adapt your approach to doing a kids thing versus like a corporate or a business lobby?
It just depends on what they want. I talk to them ahead of time. We share photos of what they have in mind so I can accurately bid the job and see what they're going to want. I personally am more skillful at the fun, whimsical kids' rooms and things like that. At the same time, I've done the gradated mountain scenery in a Pilates studio, and that was fun. And you just adapt to the different setting and what people want.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Around the Parade of Homes time, the big deal was grapevines in the wine cellar. Everybody had grapevines in their wine cellar.
Of course.
And so, you just adapt to what's popular at the time as well.
It was like, I want a scene of the south of France in the wine cellar.
Yep.
That's amazing. What's
in the
been
middle
a favorite
of Colorado?
What's been a favorite kid's bedroom that you've done?
One of my favorite kids ones, it was very unique. She had a 4-poster, very fancy looking bed, speaking of France, and behind the bed they wanted like a valance, but out of paint and with curtains coming out from it that were painted.
Yeah.
And a scene of like the grassy knoll with the Eiffel Tower right behind her bed. And that was just fun and unique. And it really, not bragging, but it really turned out well and looked 3-dimensional, like they had hung these things on the wall. And it was very fun. I cheated a little bit. I used the stencil for the actual Eiffel Tower.
That makes sense.
Because that would have been very hard to paint.
Yeah.
But I was able to incorporate it into the rest of the mural. Yeah, freehanding the Eiffel Tower would have been a little tough.
One of the most
that was probably one of my favorites.
Detailed and complex structures on Earth.
Right. To try to freehand and get the lines straight and the dimensions correct. That would have been a little tough. But that was probably awesome. That was one of my favorites. There was another one, a guy who, bachelor pad, bathroom on the inside walls of the house, just the little powder bath where there were no windows or light or anything. And so I painted it to look like he was looking out the window at a mountain scene with water and someone fishing from the shore, just to give it some more personality in a bathroom that was stuck on the inside with no outside view.
Absolutely. Make it a little bit more enjoyable
That was
to be
fun.
in.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of wrap up with some rapid fire. What's one of your favorite quotes and why?
My favorite quote ever is "Why be normal?"
Yes.
Because I never have been, and it just keeps life interesting.
I love it. Normal is boring.
Exactly.
What's the title of your memoir?
Oh, now that's a totally different story. Um, it's called The Dead Birds of Queensbrook Place, which is the street I grew up on, and you will see it someday.
All right. I will
But
look
there's a
forward to
whole different long story there. But I
it.
have come up with the title.
Nice. I love that you thought about it though. That's great.
Yeah,
Outside of your career,
that's
and it might be kind of a similar thing, what's a hobby that makes you relax and takes you away from it all?
outside, anything
Mhm.
outside. I love hiking. I love just laying out on my back deck and listening to nature. I love opening my door and talking to deer and foxes that regularly visit my
Nice.
property and have gotten used to me and don't, startle and run away all the time.
Yeah.
I just love being outside.
You're basically Snow White. You
Snow
call
White, no
or
funny.
Sleeping Beauty, whatever
Not
the one
quite
that
without the dress and the foofiness.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
mountain chick. I call myself a mountain chick.
Yeah, 100%. We are very similar. We don't have quite the we have the elk that are around a lot, but that's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
On the evergreen side, yep,
Yep.
you have the elk.
We'll be on the Conifer Bailey side soon. We're moving in the summer.
Oh, are you?
That's
I'm
more
off
of
of
our the community's more of our vibe.
me too. I'm off of Richmond Hill and
Like yeah.
285. Where are you all coming?
Oh, we're not sure yet. We gotta see what is available to rent when the time comes. So we'll yeah,
Gotcha.
we're moving that way. So
Wonderful.
finally
Well,
tell
welcome.
people,
It's a great
oh
place.
yeah. No, I'm excited. It's an awesome community. I'm already part of the Conifer Chamber and gonna definitely be joining the
Oh,
Bailey
okay.
Chamber and excited to kind of get into the community and set up some roots and hopefully eventually we want to like buy land and build a house and stuff.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it wouldn't work exactly for you, but I'm co-president of Mountain Women in Business, which helps all types of local small business women along the 285
Yeah,
corridor and in Evergreen and Bailey. So if you need other people to interview, I can help with that
I
as
would
well.
love that actually. Yeah, if you have recommendations, that'd be fantastic.
Sure.
I would absolutely love that. So finally, tell people where to find you and what you got going on right now.
Oh, wonderful. I can be found online. My website is www.rachelscreations.net. And I also have a Facebook page. Just look up Rachel's Creations in Conifer. What I have going on, I have a few Easter events upcoming. Mount Women in Business is sponsoring an Easter event at Glen Isle, and it is already full to capacity, but I'll be doing some face painting there.
Nice.
I have what else? Private birthday party coming up at the Aspen Park Montessori for a little client. Also a house and pet sitter on the side. So I have a lot of those clients coming up now that people are going to start
Yep.
traveling for spring and summer. But and I can also be found on the Mountain Women in Business website. Just look up mountainwomeninbusiness.com. If you do follow my Facebook page, I always list when I'm going to be somewhere public for
Sweet.
an event that's open to the public. Most of mine are more private clients and birthday parties and things like that. But
Yeah.
I keep everyone informed and trying to think. I haven't had anything at a local school in a while, but I usually do their back to school carnivals and things like that. So
Nice.
hopefully you'll see me there as well.
I love it. Well, thank you for the chat, and it's been really cool getting to hear your story and letting everybody know what you're up to.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. For everybody watching and listening.
Is there any way?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, go for it.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, would I have had to let people know ahead of time, or is this recorded? Does it play later?
Yeah, it'll come out later. Let's see, I'm not sure.
Okay.
It'll come out in a couple weeks, and I'll tag you and stuff in
Will
it.
you send me a link?
Oh, of course.
And all that?
Of
Awesome.
course.
How fun.
Absolutely.
Okay.
For everybody watching and listening, I will see you next time.